This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.
Beers in the Lot is partnered with the Hockey Podcast Network.
What's up, everybody? It's episode 159 of Beers in the Lot. As we approach the hockey season, I just want to remind you, it's a great time to stock up on your Beers in the Lot merchandise, which you can get from beersinthelot.com/shop. Go ahead and check it out. Also at beersinthelot.com, you can find the info for the Discord, for the Patreon to help support our podcast making efforts, and just about any other information that you could want about the podcast is there as well. Check it out, beersinthelot.com. So for episode 159, the guys and I talked about Eric's recent trip to Philadelphia for a kids tournament. We touched on the topic of Auston Matthews signing with the Leafs, and we talked about growing the game in other countries. So let's get to it and crack the beers.
Aaron, so since we're not poors like Danny and Eric, what are you drinking this evening?
Well, I'm not poor as in a P-O-U-R, but I might be a P-O-O-R because I have Miller Lite tonight. But it's good as always. What do you have, John?
I have a High Noon. I'm clearing out the rest of the fridge from pool season. I got the kiwi flavor. Very enjoyable. I could have a billion of these.
A little bit of fruit.
Yeah, a little bit of fruit. Yeah. I mean, we're entering colder months. So you need to make sure you're still getting your fruit intake and all that for your vitamins. So, yeah.
You got to prevent scurvy.
I know. No scurvy here. Got to make sure. So, yeah. Danny, what are you drinking this evening?
So from Hill Farmstead Brewery in Greensboro Bend, Vermont, of First and Last Things. Very delicious IPA with multiple hops.
Ah.
And what do you got tonight, Riggs?
I have a perpetual IPA from Trogs in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
It's a solid beer.
Yeah. I picked up a bunch on the kids' hockey trip this weekend, and a few came back. So,
did you just swing in, or did you eat at the brewery?
We were in Philadelphia, so we didn't go through Hershey.
My condolences.
I went to the beer store. It's a place called The Beer Store. And
good name.
Yeah, I mean,
I like the sound of this place.
I went in and I was looking.
They have
wine? No.
Oddly enough, no.
No. They did have malt beverages like ices and Mike's and all those type of things.
Tweez.
Yeah. Oh, they had lots of Tweez. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I went in there, and under the local brews section in the cold case, it has Trogs and Victory, and that was it. Because I guess there's no other breweries in South Central or Eastern PA now. So
R.I.P. to Mount Gretna.
I don't know, but that was like Perpetual was the only good thing in there. And then they had 30s of Labatt's, but they were all, outside of the cooler. So, and I'm traveling, right? So I'm not taking it back to my beer fridge, which will get it cold fast. So it wasn't going to work, but whatever.
I've always wanted to go to Evil Genius Brewery in Philadelphia. They have a really good beer.
Those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
And they didn't have their stuff in there.
That's crazy.
Right. It made no sense.
I've been to 2 speakeasies in Philly and enjoyed myself.
Oh,
it was
speakeasy.
Yeah.
Fancy guy.
So a speakeasy in Philadelphia means that it stays open past 10 p.m.?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Because all the bars
fancy.
bars and liquor stores close at like 10 or 11 p.m.
Well, they do that for public safety,
crazy.
I think.
Public safety? Have you been to that city?
Not working.
More times than I care to admit.
Have you seen a Flyers game?
Sadly. Go Birds. Yeah, wait till football season starts.
Yeah,
those
the
idiots.
Eagles.
Yeah, Go Birds. They're getting their hoagies down at Wawa. Ugh.
Oh, God.
Sucks.
So on the way
Yeah.
out of town,
Not a sheets in sight.
not and so
I know. It's a damn shame.
first thing we get the truck packed up at the rink, and we're just gonna leave straight from there and come home because it's like 4:00. And the first thing my son says is there a Sheets around here? And we're both like, no, this is Wawa country.
You start just laughing at him.
Yeah. So we did stop at a Wawa to get like water and stuff. And I haven't been in one in a couple of years. The layout is stupid. The layout in a Wawa is dumb. It's like the cash register and the self-order things are all right in the middle, right when you walk into the place. It's not spread out like in Sheets. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, and generally, a lot of those places, like I've noticed, Rural Farms is the same damn thing. It's like technically in the middle of the store. So for a customer flow,
Yeah.
like it's horrible. Sheets, it's always like literally one entrance has a cash registers, and then, kind of behind the counter where you can get your Zins and your darts and everything else. And then the self-checkout area, it's all there. But then everything else is kind of like
But everything
on the other
is,
side, essentially.
Everything has like a linear flow to it, right? And it's just a big L shape. Like the Wawa has like this weird U-shaped pattern with offshoots to like where the coffee is and where the drink refrigerator is. Like, it's so stupid. I hate it. Wawa sucks.
Yeah, I don't like Wawa. Every time I see like a billboard or like a social media ad or anything for like Hoagie Fest, I like vomit in my mouth.
Get out of here.
I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't want dysentery. I'm not on the Oregon Trail. I'm not eating there.
Oh, and while we're on the subject of establishments and how crappy they are, I won't name which rink it was, but it is a rink that is affiliated through the Flyers skate zone things that they do. They have a bunch of rinks up there. They have a bunch of rinks that they put the stupid Flyers logo on there. And so it's one of these. Can I just say that on Sunday morning, show up to the rink, I have to use the facilities when I get there because it's like almost 8:00 in the morning because we had an early game. So I go in there and there were only 2 usable stalls because of 6 or 5, whatever it was. Because
2 usable stalls out of 5 or 6? This sounds like the NHL.
Because, well, it sounds like the Flyers team, like their roster. I
mean, stalls in particular. The stalls.
Oh, yeah. Oh, brothers. The brothers. Yeah. Well,
God, we're murdering puns tonight.
We're just going nuts on puns.
Some would argue they're at 0%. But anyway, because the unusable stalls looked like hell on earth. That's the only way I could describe it. While I was in the restroom, 2 other patrons walked in, and this is not a joke. This is a direct quote. Each one of them, separated by maybe 5 to 7 minutes, said, "Jesus Christ," when they opened up the stall doors. The conditions were terrible. Terrible. Philadelphia.
So pretty standard for Philly.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. Not surprising, I guess.
I mean, yeah.
Man.
I feel like that's par for the course.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, there's just some mutant that went in there that morning, which is just frightening. Public restrooms, like, it's someone who unfortunately is in them way more than I need to be with my work schedule and driving around and shit. Like, it's frightening. Like, some of the shit you see, it's like frightening. the only way I can describe
this
it.
wasn't even from lack of cleaning, although there was other evidence to suggest lack of cleaning. But the toilets themselves, 2 of them were overflowing with toilet paper. Like somebody just took like 4 rolls of toilet paper each and just stuffed them into the toilet.
So you're saying there's stuff on the outside of the Uranus and the turlet? Like,
but like somebody, like that didn't happen over time. Somebody went in there and did that on purpose because there's some jagoff, you know. Like,
I feel like there's gonna be like a Netflix doc about like those people. Like, it's gonna be added to like the serial killer triad of like, you know, bedwetting, kills animals. It'll be like desecration of a public restroom, like wets the bed, and then serial killer. Like
Philadelphia Flyer fan.
Exactly. Yeah. Has gritty stuffed animal. Bang.
yeah,
Done. Yeah. Those people are just
animals,
God.
man.
send them, put them on a fucking rocket and send them to the sun. I'm done with these people.
We're getting closer, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about football season starting, which means that hockey is coming. And there's just not a lot happening. Is it just me, or is there not much going on?
That's
at
the way NHL teams like it.
Yeah, it's the
Well-
time of year for one, but I feel like there's always at least something coming around, like something in the news around this time of year.
Well, Poppy signed last week.
Yeah, Poppy extended.
Okay, yeah. So there's a few things. Yes, that's big.
Which already set off ungodly amounts of weird social reaction. Because while I look at it as an American player dedicating 13 years of his professional prime career to a franchise north of the border in hockey's mecca, you could argue, people are like, well, why didn't he sign the full 8? Oh my gosh. It's like, well, like, what? I think that's actually good. By him signing 4, it's almost a good thing, because maybe Toronto in 4 years goes, we still haven't progressed out of the second round. We still can't do anything with this core, whatever you want to call it. We're going to move on. And that's better than, like, let's say, you know, having him for another 4 years after that, and you got to trade him at a point where he's unhappy. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I mean, they're already talking about Nylander too, because he said, we're going to see what happens, which, like, yeah, whatever. I don't know.
Well,
They always overreact.
The CBA ends in 2026. The current one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it has more to do with that, because he's not going to give up some prime free agent years at the end of that 4-year deal. And
Will be
all accounts are that the players are going to get more than what they've gotten previously in the next CBA. I mean, they're already talking about international tournaments and Olympics again. So there's already something going on there. So I think the timing is more due to, you know, when's the new CBA come out and what are the terms there? What could a player actually max out with, and all those good things.
Yeah.
And maybe here his agent knows something that other people don't.
Well, I mean, there's already talk that the cap's going to go up in the next like 4 years, probably about like $5 to $12 million anyway. A player like him, I mean, I don't know if he'll cash more than what he's getting right now, because he'll be 31 the next deal. I mean, someone will give him a pretty good chunk of coin, so I wouldn't freak out about it. But like, yeah, he'll still get a great paycheck, much better than us. So whatever. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. Danny, do you see the Caps copied exactly what the Pens are doing?
What's that?
They have a general manager and El Presidente of hockey ops.
Oh,
It's garbage. just
well, they have been built similar. They have been built the same, like for, I don't know, since Ovi and Sid came into the league.
I know. They're just trying to copy every
And-
fucking thing.
And I don't I don't mean to like say that that is how the Caps work, but how many former Penguins go to the Caps like within a year or two of leaving the Penguins or directly from the Pens to the Caps? Like it's happened so many times. It's like, I don't want to say the Caps are picking up the Pens used up players or whatever, but I think of like Brooks Orpik. I think of, there's just a bunch of players that have ended up on the Caps, and we're like, how could they go to the Caps thinking that they would be, somehow loyal to the Penguins forever and never ever want to play with the Capitals or something like that, something ridiculous, as if they're not getting paid money. But but that has definitely happened more than just Orpik. Help me out, guys. I'm trying to think of the other ones. Hagelin, there's a bunch of them. Like
Robert Lang, Jaromir Jagr,
Sherry, and then Sherry comes back.
Yeah,
yeah. Not saying the Caps are a copycat organization, but clearly the two organizations are going down similar paths. Maybe the Penguins just make the press releases sooner. I don't know.
Maybe in a few years they'll get Carlson at the end of his deal. We'll see. I don't know. The more and more I get closer to hockey season with the Pens, I'm getting a little more leery because I just don't. I look at the East and I'm just very unsure how they're bouncing a team from the Metro. I just don't. Caps too. I don't.
I mean, you're essentially fighting for a wild card if you're in the Metro and you're not one of the big three. So that already puts you at a disadvantage. And then, like I said, there's other teams that you have to fight for those wild card spots. And cores are aging. I mean, Sid and Ovi aren't getting any younger. Pens decided to hang on to Malkin. Now they picked up another older defenseman. Who knows? Yeah, the older teams aren't. The younger teams are winning cups, it seems like. But hey, let's go all in on an older player. Why not? Right?
Our season starts up. Should I just not? Should we make a new roster rule? If you're over 40, we don't want you on the team. Like for OFBG.
No, our league is built
name.
on that.
Dude,
the league is based on the O. The O stands for old.
The minimum age is 35, dude.
One of the best players in the league is over 60.
I've literally just started qualifying for that.
I had to get an act of Congress just to get in when I got in. It's like, nah, he's cool.
And then these other freaking scallywags just weasel their way in somehow. I don't know. I don't understand it. There's probably a lot of graph going on, kickbacks and whatnot.
Hang on a second, guys. We need a quick break to hear about our sponsors.
Even if you're not going on vacation, summer's all about a vacation state of mind. Whether I want to listen to my favorite fishing and beach playlists on repeat and relax, or need some tunes to energize a day of yard work, I love creating my own summer activity soundtracks by popping in my Raycon wireless earbuds. My Raycons have a 32-hour battery life, including 8 hours of playtime, so I can listen to what I want, when I want, for a really long time. They came with custom gel tips for the most comfortable in-ear fit, and Raycons start at half the price of other premium audio brands, but they sound just as good. Create your own soundtrack with Raycon. Right now, Beers in the Lot listeners can get 15% off their Raycon order at buyraycon.com/THPN. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to save 15% on Raycons. buyraycon.com/THPN.
College football fans, are you ready for week one? DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking you up with a can't-miss offer to start the season strong. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on college football and score $200 in bonus bets instantly. Anything can happen in college football. Your team could go from unranked to dynasty mode in just a couple of years. Change comes fast. The only thing that's a lock is the great offers from DraftKings Sportsbook. Life's more fun when you're in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on college college football. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. See dkng.com/football for eligibility terms and responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
BioSteel camp's going on. That's pretty cool. Other than that, meh.
Are they doing the videos this year? Like
They're not doing them the way they used to. I get so
like
mad.
the techno and everything.
Oh, it
Yeah,
was so
man.
sick back in the day. Yeah, if you ever get
They'd-
bored on YouTube, go on a rabbit hole from like 2010 to like 2013. They did the BioSteel camp. Spectacular videos.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh
They're
yeah,
I mean, like,
They're like a couple minutes long. And they show the guys getting it after it in the camp, and like Gary Roberts is like yelling at them and stuff. And they're doing crazy moves, and the goalies look like shit. And
yeah,
and there's a really cool. They always have a really cool like soundtrack song to each
Oh,
of
yeah.
the videos
gets
for
you hype.
the 4 or 5 videos
Oh,
for
yeah.
that week. Like
It's so good.
It's awesome. Yeah.
I remember. I forget what year it was. I mean, a lot of the big guys were there, but the one day of the week, if I find it, I'll put it in Discord. They played "Mercy" from Kanye.
Yeah.
Oh
It was
yeah.
so cool.
Yes.
That was like
yes.
one of the coolest videos. I was like, this gets me so jacked. I want to skate. I love it. It was just so cool. Like, and it was different because they did it. Because like you always heard of like these pro camps going on, and you never like kind of saw anything. So I will say like that's the one cool thing about social media. You see a little more of that.
Now they got their clientele. They don't need hype videos like that anymore. I guess.
Well, it's that, and they kind of decided to do it like a little more private because I guess they kind of, I don't know if it was like the players or the guys doing it. They just didn't need the extra cameras and nonsense there. I guess that's my only kind of like thought. Maybe they were like, we don't need this shit.
give the people what
So-
they want.
Yeah, Danny, preach. That's what we're talking about here. We need give the people what they fucking want. This is ridiculous. But yeah.
Well, if what you want is to go to NHL.com right now, then too bad for you. I'm getting
Why?
an NHL. I'm getting a Cloudflare page. Saying that they've got a problem right now.
Whoops.
They sold out to live.
So
That's the one sport I feel confident there will not be sports washing with that. I don't see those guys like they've done it recently with soccer. They're doing it with golf. They're in Premier League. They're in F1. Like baseball, I don't think they have a huge interest, but whatever. I like hockey. If I ever saw a report on that, I would feel very confident. I'm like, no, that is so clickbait. No, I think it would be cool if they went overseas to like some of those markets. I mean, I know it's kind of few and far between in terms of rinks, but like, you see Puerto Rico, they're trying to start a program. Jamaica, the Chinese women's national team is going to be promoted to tier 1 next year. So they're going to be competing against like Sweden, Finland, America, Canada, stuff like that. So that's a big deal for China in terms of hockey. I'd love to see another game over there. I mean, they haven't done it since like they did the Nagano games. It was like the Avs and the Sabres years and years ago. But that was the only time I remember. And I think Anaheim may have played a game over there against Vancouver. Those are the only ones I think they did in Asia that I'm aware of.
Anytime you're getting the sport into new markets or in front of people who don't normally see it, like that's good. You want as much of that as possible.
Yeah, they're doing it in Australia.
Yeah, Australia.
That'd be sick.
It feels like an untapped, an untapped market. Like I feel like
Eric.
there should be more Australian hockey players. Like it almost strikes me as odd that there isn't as many. I guess maybe it's just a population thing. Like there's just not as many people in Australia, so I guess you're if you don't have the infrastructure, well, we're talking about this in Discord too, the infrastructure to promote it amongst the young, potential players. If it's
The
not
youths.
there, then the youths, then
Yeah.
you're just not going to develop into high end talent. But
Yeah, I'd say for them it's definitely an infrastructure problem.
right.
The rinks that they do have, there's one there's two in Sydney, there's one 2 hours north of Sydney, there's one in Brisbane, there's a big building in Melbourne, which is where the NHL is going to play. There's one in Adelaide, one in Perth, and there's another one in there, but that's it.
You're saying that these major cities only have one rink?
Yeah, that's all they got.
Oh wow.
That's all they
Well,
got.
I imagine they're competing. I mean, Eric, he's been there and he knows a few people from there a little more intimately than I do. I imagine even though hockey, like in Maryland and let's even say like Florida, Texas, California, it's competing against a billion things. I imagine in Australia it's the same way, but hockey's much further down that list.
So I think it's the infrastructure problem, and then there's the exposure. So because of the infrastructure problem, you can't get enough people in, right? And so then you don't have the community aspect, you don't have the family aspect, you don't, somebody's cousin, you don't know somebody's cousin that plays and that piques your interest, or your brother doesn't play, your big brother doesn't play, so you don't care about that. It's all that kind of stuff, those stories that we would hear in North America, right?
Sure.
And also, they just got their first two sort of major pro players in NHL caliber talent to come through. So that's starting, but it's 2023,
fledgling,
right?
Yeah.
So the NHL going over will help that. I've said it a bunch of times, and it because it's fact that Australian culture is a sporting culture. So when you talk to somebody there, the first question that you should ask an Aussie is, are you, what's your who do you support in footy, or who do you support in
cricket,
in rugby union?
Rugby.
They all support their state cricket teams,
Sure,
and the national team. Like they're all, they all do that. But primarily they're either footy fans or rugby fans, and which should make hockey very easy to promote, because they're essentially the same. They're attack defend. They're very physical. You have some real characters. The rules are essentially the same, especially in Australian rules football. It's essentially the same rules as the NHL, except with some of the forward pass elements. They'll actually give free ball opportunities if you catch the ball out of the air, but the flow and the strategy is the same. So it translates very well, I think, to watching hockey then. But yeah,
it seems like hockey is a natural progression then.
Yeah,
like it should be the next big thing.
I think so. I always had this idea that like I would, once my son was done, like with youth hockey, and he like moved away and stuff, that I would try and parlay my volunteer coaching experience into a job over there to try and help. But that's a dream, obviously. But I think,
what if there are any organizations in Australia listening?
Right, exactly. But I also I think that it's not such a far-fetched idea that you would see more and more North Americans going over to kind of help with that, and there are some examples of that. There's a Canadian coach that went over and coached one of the Melbourne teams in the pro league. I don't remember all the details, but that was a big deal. like he basically picked up from Canada and went over there for the Aussie Pro season. And you know, they had some success, but while he was there, he also did a lot of promotion with the First Nations or the Aboriginal team, youth team. He was very involved in those communities and trying to bring the game to them and use it as an avenue to help kids out, which is really cool. So I think you're going to start to see more and more of that stuff, especially like, you know, again, with the Nathan Walker story and all those things. So
hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully the game grows in Australia, grows everywhere, really.
Everywhere. Yeah. I mean, I've seen there's an Instagram account called Hockey Without Borders. So, you know, like Doctors Without Borders, right?
Yeah, right.
And their thing is you know, you can go sign up with them and you can go help coach kids in disadvantaged areas in Europe and Asia. So it's kind of like Doctors Without Borders, but for hockey. Like it's very interesting. That was another thing that you know, if life situations were different, I would definitely think about doing. but you know, I think that's probably a younger person's pursuit.
Right.
Age is just a number, Riggs.
Well, you know.
What you watching there, John?
I'm watching preseason Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, Rimouski and Shawinigan.
Nice.
So,
who's Shawinigan?
Nice.
Shawinigan is 3-0. They got
Shawinigan.
They got two shorthanded goals on the same power play against Rimouski. Definitely preseason. Yeah, definitely preseason. But kind of rough. Like they've had a few guys like kind of definitely not fight, but definitely we'll call it like
definitely not fight, right?
We'll call it a
rule changes,
a higher level like kind of grapple, if you will. So I think the players are kind of like figuring out like, oh, we'll kind of grapple them a little bit. But also it's preseason. There's not a, you know, some of these guys are fighting for spots and position on their team, so I get it. But just getting my hockey fix in right now. So yeah. And I think OHL starts in the next, like, early September. OHL's back. Q started a little early, and WHL start probably in the next 2 weeks for preseason as well. So yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah, and then we'll get really excited. All right.
Yeah, right.
Who's gonna score more GWGs this season with their Sherwood stick? Connor Bedard or Aaron Michaels? I need this. I saw this line on DraftKings. I was very curious.
I'm gonna say Bedard.
Bedard.
GWGs, yes, I would probably give the edge to Bedard. However, I mean,
well, he's got more games. He's got more games.
He's got more games to possibly win.
That's
I will say though that I actually have a disproportionately high number of GWGs compared to other players with the same number of goals as me in the league. Just throwing that out there.
What about ENGs?
That stat is not tracked.
Answer it. I'm gonna headbutt you. I track it. Don't worry.
I have 0 ENGs. Or no, I have the one.
Bullshit. Yeah.
Did I get the one? I had the one. Yeah, I got one. But apart from that's the only one I got. And it was like basically for the memes almost. Eric set me up knowing that it would be knowing that I'd get whatever. Not gonna go there.
I feel like it's like a Three Amigos line. Wherever there's an empty net, I'll be there. Yeah, exactly.
All right, that's it for episode 159. Thank you so much for your support and your listen. We appreciate it as always. Keep those likes and ratings and reviews and subscriptions coming and keep on listening. We'll be back again next week with another episode on Wednesday. So until then, see ya.